because it does have a future, I think.
Well, it's like you led the discussion one morning, said, when did Yiddish start? And my response is, I don't know when it started, but I know it stopped with my grandparents.
Yeah.
Because they would speak it so that I would
Understand.
understand it.
In Borough Park, they have schools, religious schools that teach in Yiddish, and I remember going around and with one of them, and everybody is so respectful. It says good with the rabbi was with me, good morning Rebbe, and they would speak Yiddish with each other. But that's the only. It's a tiny, tiny bit. I don't know. I think it's very exciting what you're doing. Actually, it is such a wonderful project that's involved because Yiddish has a depth, and you've touched on a good part of it. So the future, I don't know. John Maynard Keynes says the future is doubtful.
Yiddish should be understood as what it really is. It's Yiddish. That is the Jewish language. And we should hold less, I think, nostalgically perhaps, or less tenaciously to one particular moment and cultural expression of what the Jewish people were producing. And instead hold tenaciously to the idea that the Jewish people is a dynamic, vibrant people, and today Hebrew has really the role that Yiddish once had, and that's okay by me. Doesn't mean we should lose the cultural expressions of previous generations, but it's not the Jewish language today. It's an interesting historical, cultural memory, and I think we should be as passionate as we can be about sustaining the Jewish people and its cultural vitality, and remembering this language and its role is a part of that. But just because people aren't speaking this particular language today with their kids, with their grandkids in the synagogue, doesn't mean we've lost Yiddish, Jewish. As long as we're having Shabbos and Yom Tov meals, and we're discussing the ideas of the Jewish people, and the challenges of the Jewish people, and the texts of the Jewish people, and hearing the music and the culture of the Jewish people, that's Yiddish.
I think the language will eventually disappear. I think I can't see anyone in my family, my children, have any contact with Yiddish at all. I do, we do, but I think it's a generational thing, and I think what's going to happen if it doesn't become an academic task on a person's part, as this young lady has done a magnificent job with it, I think our generation is the only generation, the last generation, I may be wrong, that has a real connection, an obscure connection, because it was really through our parents and grandparents, nothing else.
But wait a minute.
I don't know anyone in my family. I know my sister, my wife's sister-in-law has taken Yiddish and done that in college, but nobody else has.
Not as a language of communication.
Nobody has any.
Now how about Ron in Mea Sha'arim? In Mea Sha'arim, at least I found very few years ago that a language of communication among many of the young people was Yiddish, and that's a very religious enclave.
Yes, that's
Unfortunately, though, I think those people have almost nothing to do with the Jewish people. No,
that's probably the truth.
those people are the people who are most antagonistic to the living Jewish people.
Right.
And it is really a dangerous thing to let them define real Judaism, because they speak the language that our grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents spoke, because we are the real Jewish people, and if we aren't serious about tenaciously holding on to that identity and that authenticity, no matter what languages we speak, then we're going to allow them to define what real Judaism is. And those are the people who would never ever pick up the origin of species in Yiddish. These are the people who find theater to be abhorrent. These are the people who find the intellect that's true, and the humor even that you've spoken of.